A historic Saturday night here from West Knoxville. We are live for Rebels with a Cause. A Sábado Gigante matchup between the West Rebels and the Bearden Bulldogs. The 63rd annual meeting between these two programs, these bitter West Knoxville rivals. Get it on. It has been 365 days since that matchup last year that ended in a thrilling triple overtime contest won by the Bulldogs. Tonight, West, after a season that had so much promise, that ended so controversially, and so many things that happened over the offseason for both of these programs, a lot of aggression is going to be let out tonight when the kickoff happens at 7 o'clock. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from Bill Wilson Field. I am the Italian Stallion here with Big Game, Kerry Reeves.
You know it.
We are live here to talk about this matchup tonight. It is what we've spoken about and what we have been hyping up all this time. It is West and Bearden live. Last year we were at the Bulldog House. This year we are live from Bill Wilson Field. We even have rain here, but luckily we're under a tent to make sure that nothing gets messed up with the computer equipment or anything. Kerry, talk about it, man. It's West Bearden. The faces have changed, the coaches have changed, but
the rivalry is still the same.
Talk about it, brother.
Battle of West Knoxville. They keep saying it's the 63rd, 58, 63. It really doesn't matter.
And I actually looked that up, by the way. Of what it is that they must have chat GPT'd something, and the Tennessee historical thing has not been updated since 2020.
Okay.
So we are missing those games. So courtesy of that website and Coach T is how I've gotten the stats. That is the 63rd meeting between these two schools. We're going to break it all down for you. We're going to talk about memorable games. We're going to talk about when West has the ball, when Bearden has the ball, the coaching matchup. We're also going to talk about the series history, the tale of the tape of the two schools, and so much in common, Kerry. I mean, it's not just a West Knoxville rivalry, but we've had parents and kids on both sides of that. You've even worked at both schools.
And I have worked at both. Someone has worked at both sides.
Yeah.
This is a personal matchup for me. It's one of my favorite matchups, always has, no matter what the sport. But football just seems to bring out the aggression, and it's the first game of the year.
And what about me? One of the only players that was a Bearden freshman year and West sophomore through senior year. Yep. So, I mean, just there's so much involved with this, and this matchup. And, there's guys that I played with at Bearden that one year whose kids are on the team this year. I mean, like, it's just crazy. They're wearing West. So I'm sure they want their kids to do well, but deep down it's like, you're still a Bearden guy. Exactly. Come on. That's what the diploma says.
And the guys that you're talking about, I've known them for all that time because I was their officer back when they were kids. So now that's pretty special to me to see their kids in this rivalry, and especially for West. That's amazing. They played for Bearden, and now their kids are at West. That's amazing. It really is.
It is amazing. So, yeah. But we are live here from Bill Wilson Field. If you haven't done so already, like and subscribe. I want to thank all the Rebels with a Cause fans. We got to 100 subscribers. I had a personal goal that if we could reach 100 subscribers by this show this morning, I would be thrilled. We got to 101. So thank you to everyone. For anybody that hasn't subscribed, please do so. It's Rebels with a Cause. We're here to support this school that has given so much to both of us and to Two-Pair Tate and to Shane O'Mac. This has just been an amazing I'm overwhelmed with the fact that I have waited 25 years to do this game and to do a live show from this stadium. I mean, it looks way different from when I played here.
It looks even different from the time.
I mean, I don't know if you can even tell, but you can see the big screen in the background. We didn't have that.
We had the manual score near the end of the manual scoreboards last time. I worked the game when I was an officer here. It was a manual scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to punch in the number every once in a while. Now it's just all automatically done.
Technology, baby.
Technology. So far in 24 years.
But in all actuality, though, I mean, this matchup, even though it may not have the hype that last year had, Gary, to be honest,
or
the
year
before. But here's the thing: when these two teams get together, you got to throw out the records, and we'll talk. And here's some stats for you guys. This is the 63rd meeting between Bearden and West when they kick off at 7 o'clock. Weather is going to be a little iffy. Some games didn't even get finished last night. We'll talk about that here in a second. But there is storms in the forecast tonight. I don't know if it will just be rain or lightning and thunder, but I know that some games got delayed last night that will be finishing up tonight. One game I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like it's not going to get finished. But that we'll talk about that here in a second. But Bearden leads the all-time series 40-21 and one tie. Since 1999, though, West has won 15 of the last 24 meetings, and definitely has really swung in West's favor. Of course, Bearden won that thriller last year in 3 overtimes, 31-24. West had their opportunities to win that game. It just didn't come to fruition. Had West won, it would have been 6 in a row, but now Bearden has had the bragging rights for 365
days, and that interesting how that may change tonight. But you're going to get one thing you're going to get is a thrilling football game. You're going to get two teams going to compete the heck out of themselves and each other out here on this field tonight.
Absolutely. Well, and can I also say this much too, Kerry? I think that last year there was some talk about, Bearden the last couple of years had recruited some guys that weren't normal Bulldog kids that went up through the program or what have you like that. And ironically, none of those guys really contributed in the game. It was the homegrown guys like Kai Ironside and Parrott. And I'm glad to see those guys graduated because they were unbelievable last year. They were not going to lose.
They are off to outstanding college careers and hopefully outstanding lives as young men.
Absolutely. No, and it was a pleasure to watch them. I wish they'd look better in Rebel Blue and red, but they of course adorned the maroon and gray. Can't do that.
Can't get every
kid. But it was interesting that was the situation last year. Now, a lot of those kids have transferred to other schools. We saw them last night at Anderson County and Marable and Alcoa. Some maybe even went to Catholic, and there's even some that went back to wherever they came from in other states or what have you. But the truth of the matter is that the kids that are out there for Bearden are definitely playing for that rivalry. They played against our guys, going up. And so this is a pride thing for them, that they, especially for the seniors that have stuck it out on both sides of the equation. So yeah, for sure. But that being said, let's talk real quick about what happened last night in football. We're going to start on Thursday night, by the way. It was the appetizer, so to speak, on Rivalry Thursday. Halls came in as the preseason number 5 team in 5A. Oak Ridge, surprisingly, was like not even on the top 10 of 6A. That they've moved in over there and so forth. But I'll tell you one thing, Oak Ridge came to play on Thursday night. Defended home turf against Blankenship, had a couple pick sixes on Hall's quarterback, Amari Lethgo. Hall's kind of woke up, but it was a little too late.
The damage had already been done in the first half with the 2 pick sixes.
Yeah.
You can recover from one, but most games, if you throw 2 or have 2 major turnovers that get returned for scores, you're not going to win that. You're most likely not going to win that game because that's just too much of a deficit to come back from. Oak Ridge is a great home team, and you can't give them any advantage because once they take advantage, they're going to wear on you and they're going to beat you down, and they're going to use that advantage and just make sure you play an uphill game with them at that stadium from here on in.
Well, and I will say this much, that Derek Rang, I told you on the show on Wednesday that he would have them prepared defensively. Derek Rang, a great defensive mind, now he's gotten his guys in there, put his stamp in the program on the 3rd year now, and Oak Ridge, and they're going to need it because they're going to get everybody's best shot this year with schedule. So, and we talked about whoever won that game has a springboard to really start this season off on a good note, and it went to Oak Ridge, not Hall.
And a game like that, yes, well, definitely. If Oak Ridge didn't have a lot of attention in 6A, they've got a lot of attention now.
Absolutely,
because their defense, because like you said, Derek Rang, excellent defensive mind. He had them prepared. They were ready. They defended left go as well as anybody has in the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, probably not since our game against them in second round. Second round. Yeah, absolutely. So for sure,
that was an outstanding job by their defensive unit. They were well prepared. You could see how well prepared they were. They knew what was coming. They had answers for everything that Halls and them tried. And Halls is well coached themselves, but they just had everything ready.
It's perfect. Yes, perfect. Yeah. The game of the night last night, if you were living under a rock and didn't watch it, it was on TV. Shout out to Russell Biven and his crew with getting that hype. Maryville Alcoa, 40 plus championships between both schools. It lived up to the hype last night. And then
some.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to go into overtime.
I
really thought at the next to last play, if Jones throws it to the corner, the receiver gets it because he had a step and he had to wait on the ball.
That Maryville magic, it's always there.
It's always there.
They're not dead until it's 0-0.
And I expected them to score that touchdown to go into overtime. I was surprised when they did.
Yeah, and
Very
that Alcoa
surprised.
quarterback Manu, who had transferred from Maryville
Fantastic.
over to Alcoa, I think he wanted to tell Maryville, "You shouldn't have let me go. Maybe it was me you should have kept, and not Jones."
And the atmosphere last night was just incredible.
Fantastic.
Class on both sides. Alcoa celebrated with their fans. Maryville. Both teams brought it last night. Both teams are going to have outstanding years. We get to see Maryville next week up and close personal.
And we get Alcoa in 3 weeks here.
And get Alcoa in 3 weeks here. So we have a common opponent with both of them, which is going to be really interesting to see how we defend them in a couple of weeks and how we defend Maryville next week.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to Merritt on there. It is game day, baby. And what's a no contest? Perfect lead into what I was going to say, brother. A lot of controversy last night, by the way, because the truth of the matter is that last night, we had a game that was also going on at the same time. It started late because of what was going on, Kerry. But it was Powell and the Anderson County Mavericks, sorry. And basically, I saw so many guys that played on Bearden last year making plays for Anderson County. I thought I was watching Bearden 2 nights in a row or whatever.
That's what I thought I was watching too.
So,
wow.
But truth be told, like I was just shocked that, Anderson County, I thought Powell was going to be different this year. I thought that they looked pretty good in the scrimmages they played, but I'm just going to say this. Anderson County came out and just punched them in the mouth. They orchestrated it on offense, running the ball, passing when they needed to. Powell's defense looked gassed already in the first quarter, and I think that Matt Lowe sensed a little bit of it, because for him to go on it in his own territory early in the game on fourth and what have you, setting up a short field for Anderson County that they took advantage of and scored.
It reeked of desperation.
It really did. And then when Deuce got hurt, and I
think that's the bigger story out of this thing is Deuce getting hurt.
Yeah, on a goal line run.
On a goal line run. That changes. If he's out for any extended bit of time, that changes their season.
It does.
Just like that. But Anderson County, my goodness, they really impressed me at how they came out. They came out ready to play. They were focused. They executed very well.
Yeah. So that game started late. They had to do halftime, and then they got in about 2 minutes before the heavens opened up, lightning and everything. It really delayed a lot of games like we had already talked about across the state. And it was known that the game would pick up and finish up at 1:00 on the following day, and Rivalry Thursday/Friday was going to continue the coverage of like what they'd been doing.
Yep.
However, not 20 minutes after that was announced, it was basically made a no contest. And it's now up to the TSSAA to decide if it's an actual win for Anderson County or it doesn't appear as a win or a loss for either team.
And they lose a game.
Yeah, and every other team that didn't finish last night is starting at 1:00 today.
Yeah, it's playing.
So what sense does that make?
That makes no sense to me. That really makes no sense to me. That is a shocker to me. The fact that you got games that are being completed today, but you can't complete that game. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Merritt said, haha, good one, AC Bulldogs, and coaching hurt Powell. Yeah, absolutely. But I will say this much, Davey Gillum definitely had them ready to go yesterday.
Davey Gillum's also a state champion coach. He's got them ready. He'll have them ready to go, ready prepared.
Yeah.
Last year was a struggle year for them. This year, I think they're going to be much better. Last night showed me they're going to be very tough to deal with.
Yeah, and if they can navigate their schedule that they have, because they've got Catholic coming up and they've got some other teams.
Who had a real impressive victory last night up at Riverdale.
Yeah, let's talk about that one next. Yes, they went over to Murfreesboro Riverdale last night. Catholic did.
My shocker of the night.
And won 20-6. And Riverdale was a number 4 team in the state with a lot of guys coming back from last year's team. And obviously, we saw him firsthand of how good he can be. But Tyreek King did not disappoint last night. He almost had 200 yards of receiving. He even took a score for 85 yards and a touchdown. He house called it. He's going to be a problem this year, and Catholic just really starting off the year on a good note.
A lot of teams do not have an answer for Tyreek King, and he just displayed the future. Tennessee fans, the future's coming.
Mm-hmm. 3-star my ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he'll be at least 4 by the time the season's over.
Has to be,
because it's amazing. I don't know how they do the star ratings, but the fact that he's a 3-star, he's one of the best 3-star athletes I've ever seen. If that's a 3-star, I'm dying to see what a 2-star is.
I will say this much about West. West. Obviously, we pride ourselves on the speed, and that has always been a difference maker for us. He's just got another gear.
He's got 2 gears.
He's got 2 years. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Catholic went into Murfreesboro, Tomahawk Stadium. Not an easy place to win at, unless your name is Oakland. Yep. And they came away with a
very
impressive win, and definitely gets them started in a season schedule that's going to have a gauntlet of a mixture of the private schools and more local area public school teams. So, but yeah, big time win by them. A shocker of the night last night was also South Doyle go with Austin East, 52-30. South Doyle. I mean, are you kidding me?
I didn't expect 82 points combined. The second thing I didn't expect was South Doyle to be as impressive as they were.
Yeah, Larry Hedrick in his second season getting a win.
Very impressive last night. Shalon Stevens' return last night that I thought was going to be. I thought they would have a better handle winning that game, but South Doyle was just so impressive last night.
They were
very impressive. Kudos to them.
Very kudos to them. Win. I mean, big win, and they need that because look at who they had to play this year. They got Fulton, Alcoa, Anderson County. I mean, they need as many wins as possible to even try to have a morale, because Larry is definitely building a program from the ground up over there. But if anybody can do it, it's Larry Hedrick.
That's honestly. The kind of win last night. That's a program building win.
It is a big time win,
and it gives them the confidence that they could beat it. That they could go out there, you execute, they could beat anybody.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's a great program building win for them.
Absolutely. We'll talk about South Doyle in a second, a little bit more. Just a couple other games that with teams that are on West's schedule this year. William Blunt just blew out Loudon last night, 49-0. Lenore City, who used to be a team that West would play traditionally every year, but now regions are different. They started off the season on a good note, beating Campbell County 43-7. But talking about this matchup, with the Bulldogs and so forth, Bearden looked very impressive against that South Doyle team.
Yes,
and so I don't think that anybody really needs to discredit what we're going to face tonight. This is going to be a great team tonight. I know that Brad Taylor knows how to coach. He's been there at Bearden before, and now he's back, and he's got a monumental challenge ahead of him. They have a very tough schedule because not only do they have West tonight, they've got Alcoa in 6 days.
Yep.
So, so that's going to be something there to talk about. But that being said, let's also talk about the other games tonight real quick, because some of these teams are on West's schedule. Heritage travels to Clinton tonight. It's not Heritage has moved down to 4A, but Clinton is on the schedule this year. We play them later on in the year. As I mentioned before, there's some teams that didn't get to finish last night. Hardin Valley was up significantly over Carnes. They still got about a quarter left, you said, Kerry, but they'll get it started at 1 o'clock. I don't know why Powell and Anderson County couldn't get their rest of their game done, but Carnes and Hardin Valley agreed to finish out the game for the players and the fans, I'm sure. So, and then of course Fulton travels to Macon County, the defending 4A state champions. I mean, Fulton needed an extra hard game, but they're going down and making the 3.5-hour drive to Macon County to take on to see where they stand in their quest to try to get back in that upper echelon of 4A.
Fulton has always played the tougher teams in their program's history. They don't shy away from challenges or tough teams. This is just right along with what Fulton has always done.
Their
go
coach
out and play the best competition.
Their coach, obviously a Fulton alum, he knows what it takes for it to be good. He's a state champion winning player.
Yep.
The program is in good hands with them, and I think that in his second season, you'll see a step from them, honestly. Yes. And of course, they've got the battle against Central next week for Broadway and so forth.
Which kind of surprised me last night with Central losing the way they did up at Dobbins Bennett.
Yeah, and actually Dobbins Bennett came here. Dobbins Bennett came here to Central. So basically, so Central went ahead and was playing Dobbins Bennett last night, and again, maybe a game that was marred with delays, and maybe Central just could not get in a rhythm like they're normally used to. Dobbins Bennett took advantage of some turnovers and just outlasted them. I just think Central ran out of time there. The final score was 26-20, if I'm not mistaken. So kudos to that and so forth. And actually, I want to apologize to Central because they did not have a goose egg. We've been having the ticker running on that and so forth. And in reality, they had scored 20 points. So I want to give them their dap that it was not a shutout by Dobbins Bennett. It was actually a 26-20 game that went down to the bitter end, and just a tough loss for Central. You talk about another team with a lot, this year and so forth.
I think we're going to see a theme.
Theme
that we're going to see in the season that we have already seen determined. Turnovers. If you turn the ball over, there's a good chance you're not going to win.
That's true.
And we saw, I think this first couple of weekends, if we see a lot of that, I think it's going to slow down as the season goes on, but these early games are so important. You got to hang on to the football. Turnovers are big. If you turn the ball over, you don't have a chance to win.
You don't. And
you're fighting enough, because some of these teams are fighting an uphill battle to begin with. You cannot turn the ball over, because that makes that uphill battle even more uphill than usual.
Well, and a perfect lead into what we'll talk about with this series of how turnovers have really influenced this rivalry, especially last year, getting West behind the 8 ball. The other game tonight, the defending state champion, Sevier County, they will take on Farragut. Farragut is the home team, but it's going to be at Burke Tar Stadium in Carson-Newman. Don't know what happened there, but either way, both teams are going to have a magnificent matchup. Again, weather might have a hindrance on that game. However, they're going to get it on at the same time as West Bearden. So a lot of good games even today to wrap up the first weekend. Despite the weather, a fantastic first weekend of week 0.
This is an amazing first weekend of high school football. The matchups that we've seen, the games that we've seen. I mean, Maryville and Alcoa will always stay in my mind, because what a game that was. What a war.
That might have been,
that might be game of the year.
I hate to say that right away.
That's week 1.
I know. I mean, how do you say that? I mean, no disrespect to the others, but you just had 2 gargantuan programs, opponents, and they don't like each other. I mean, I'll tell you this. I wonder if Maryville's woke up this morning regretting that they put Maryville Field on the Alcoa thing on Monday morning. I mean, you just don't need to give any more bulletin board material, but whatever.
I'll tell you what, the coaches respect each other. They do. The fan bases respect each other. What a battle that was.
Brian Nixon.
And like I said, props to Russell Biven and Coach Rogers. What a job they did. They described the action fantastic, and I'm going to get in on that telecast, Russell.
I like that.
I'm going to text you one night, get in on it with you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it, guys. A West Knoxville rivalry renewed. Our tale of the tape. Let's talk about it. First, we're going to go with our visitors from down the road, a few miles to be exact, the Bearden Bulldogs, a representative of Class 6A. They have 361 total wins in their school history, 3 region championships, and they are now celebrating their 77th year as a high school. And, of course, Brad Taylor, who was the coach there from 2007 to 2013, is now back to inherit the program. Of course, Josh Jones was resigned in the offseason. A lot of players moved on to the other schools like we mentioned about, but they have put together a program, and they're going to give it their best against a schedule that includes the likes of the West, the Alcoa, the Maryville, Farragut, Bradley Central. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So realistically, they've got a tough schedule ahead of them, and it starts today against West. So
yes, and
hi, how's it going?
Hey.
We're with the marching band, the color guard. Are you guys cheering?
We're just doing a show. We're doing a live show. We're good. Okay. So yeah, just do what you got to do.
We just take this corner.
Absolutely, do what you got to do. We love the background, obviously. So do what you got to do. Okay, guys, take care. See, we're live. That's what I'm saying right now. Everybody's getting ready for the festivities tonight. I love it.
Anything can happen on live TV.
Yeah, cheerleaders are even practicing and doing photo shoot over there as well. So yeah, for tonight. What I did want to let you know, Carrie, too, is that with talking about Bearden more than anything, you also feel the need to mention that. They have some good players that are part of the program. I think Kevin Simon's son is still part of the program.
Yes,
and
so.
Kevin was a standout at Tennessee, also calls some radio. So you'll see Kenneth Simon out there. You'll see another parrot out there. We'll talk about that.
One.
A younger one. So yeah, and he was looking every bit of the part in the jamboree against South Doyle last week.
Doesn't
so
surprise
it does not. So, and of course, the tail of the tape for our West Rebels, a Class 5A representative. 381 total wins, 3 5A state championships. Here's one of them right here in 2023, 2022, and 2014 with Nathan Cottrell in the group. Also, 7 region championships. In fact, actually going for 6 in a row this year. Honestly, with a new region, new opponents. Some of them old characters came with us, but we got some new foes this year.
Got some new blood in here, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's always fun to see new blood, especially when regions switch up. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And then that playoff record, 42 and celebrating 75 years now as a high school.
So not only do you have two of the longest high schools in the city of Knoxville getting together, it's like a Knoxville matchup. You got these two schools, 77 years and 75 years. My family has been on both sides of the ladder, so I know the history of both, and I'm proud to be a part of the history of both.
You know, the sad thing is, it's almost a shame when they didn't play. You know, there was a couple years there that West did not play Bearden in the 90s, and then Bearden didn't play West for a couple years. I think this game has to be on the schedule every year.
I believe the local high, especially the high schools around here. I believe back in the day when my brother played in the 90s, they all played each other.
They did.
I wish they would still do that.
I remember
because that's very special when Knoxville schools get together, like Fulton and AE, Bearden and West, Bearden and Farragut, Central and AE, Central and Fulton. I want to see all of them get together. Those are fun. Those are fun matchups. Those are fun matchups, and they should be together. They represent not just a part of academic history tonight, but the athletic history that they all have shown is unbelievable. The talent that has come out of all of these local high schools over the years has just been huge.
Absolutely. Well, you know, of course, the game could be argued. Is it more exciting at Bearden because Bearden has the one side and the stands were absolutely packed every time they play, regardless of the record. But here at West, you have the visiting stands on this side, the home stands. The bands are going to be on opposite ends of the field. I mean, it would be unbelievable if you had like an enclosed stadium. But at West, you have each side barking at the other across the field, and there's not enough field to do that, you know. But some could argue that the games have been more exciting when they have been played at West. For example, some notable games that have been played at West. For example, let's start off with 25 years ago, a game that I played in. I was now at West. I wasn't at Bearden anymore. West was celebrating their 50th anniversary and a lot of festivities. And Bearden really did everything they could to ruin it. And to add insult to injury, not only did they win that game, but they stomped on our emblem, them and their fans, after the game, and it really left a sour taste in our mouths.
That was my first Bearden West game as an officer, and I was on Bearden sidelines. I came with the football team, and I remember that moment exactly. And we did talk to a few of them that Monday after they did that. That was a little bit out of disrespect for the program. And we had a little talk with them about it, and they never did anything like that.
No, they didn't.
I know exactly who did it, and they never did anything like that ever again.
Yeah, and it was just really just a heartbreaking loss. We could argue that West could have played better to prevent that, but at the same time, show respect afterwards. Exactly. You know what I mean, after the handshake line. So, to further bring some other notable to the rivalry, 2 years later here at West was the first Mark Packer Tony Basilio game that actually aired on the 10 News 2 channel. I mean, when you had 10 News 2, if you remember. Right. So and anyway, it aired on 10 News 2. And literally, they set up a couple of cameras. West ended up winning that game 9-0. It was Coach Cummings' second game as a head coach at West in that season. He had just taken over. Now we talk about how many games are on TV. It all started here with this rivalry, West against Bearden, on this field back in 2002.
There's only one high school game a week back then on TV, and now you got Thursday, Friday, and even this week Saturday night.
Yeah,
which is absolutely amazing. Part of the rivalry, this national rivalry.
And you got playoffs on Thursday and Friday going into the playoffs.
Going into the playoffs, state championship. You got Thursday and Friday playoffs.
Absolutely, we do. Amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. A couple other games. The 2004 game. A friend of the show, Nate Martin, who's now an administrator at West. Him, Hootie Henderson, and DeBrian Venardo basically introduced themselves to Bearden and absolutely smoked them with over 300 yards combined. That record would stand for a while by 3 players combined or whatever, to be broken by Hodge, Cottrell, and Seth Marshall in 2013 here and so forth. And they actually, interesting story about that. Turnovers really were a big factor in that game, but West won 40. Really, West was up 41-6.
41-6,
and then they scored a couple of late touchdowns to make the score better. But West dominated Bearden that year in 2013. Another game that really stands out is the 2006 game, and why that is so special is that Bill Wilson had come back out of retirement to coach Bearden. It was student against mentor. Cummings with West, and it was a unbelievable game here in 2006. Bearden came out ahead, winning 31-29 over the Rebels. Great game. And realistically,
I was with Coach Wilson.
You were with Coach Wilson.
I was with Coach Wilson at Bearden still. I came with him and I escorted him up into him, and just getting to know him the 2 years that he was there. What an amazing man he is, and I can see why he is such held in high regard, not just at Bearden, but here at West especially. I mean, his name is on this field that they play on.
Absolutely.
That tells me an awful lot about him.
And they even have something in his honor, because it was really him that got jump-started Bearden to where they are now. Brad Taylor took that program over. They went the furthest they've ever went. They went to state semifinals and lost to the eventual champion in
Riverdale.
Actually, it was Smyrna. Smyrna did it. Smyrna upset. Yeah. So basically, but Brad Taylor took that over to finish the movie. But Coach Wilson,
got the train started.
Yeah, and then the other thing, and I'll talk about another tidbit here. The last game that I wanted to highlight, obviously, and you can't even talk about it without mentioning, is the fact that West and Bearden, the classic that we were a part of 2 years ago up in the press box, West in the hottest game just outlasted Bearden. Had a Marshawn Bowers touchdown that got on the scoreboard in the fourth quarter, and then it was Hale Dance to Horde with 17 seconds left. I mean, it was a perfect throw by Hunter Dance, and Six Horde caught it into the end zone. 17 seconds left. Bearden had a chance, but a Ryan Scott interception ended that, and West ended up winning 14-10 2 years ago in an absolute classic back here.
And that was a game where there was some questionable decision making, because Bearden had a chance at 2 field goals that they passed up for 4th and 1s. And missed them on both. That turned out to be the difference, because had they kicked 2 field goals, the touchdown at the end would basically have just put it at a 16-14 game.
Yep.
You kick both those field goals, Bearden wins the game. The fact that they were going, I kind of admire them for going for it, but at that point, first game of the season, you know how tough a rivalry this is, how tough a place this place is to play. Take the points when you can get them. They didn't take the points. It came back to bite them.
Absolutely. And the fact that they hadn't won here since that 2017 game, so yeah. Last few things before we actually break down into the matchup, some tidbits in this series history. When the game has gone to overtime, Bearden has really won every time, except for the classic that happened here in 2019. So that's West's only win in overtime. Every time else it's gone to overtime, Bearden has been the victor in that. So something to keep an eye on if the game stays close. Going into overtime. Just things get in West's mind. Here we go again. Because this is a mental type of rivalry as well.
An experienced coach like Brad Taylor, you gotta be sharp. You gotta be ready.
Absolutely, you do.
Because they're gonna be prepared.
Yep,
they're gonna be very prepared.
Much like another rivalry that we really love, obviously being Tennessee fans, is the Tennessee Vols Florida Gators matchup. And what has been traditional in that team in that series is the team that has the least amount of turnovers and most rushing yards has won. And that's no different in this rivalry.
Exactly.
I mean, the turnovers really put West behind the 8 ball last year. It's going to be something to watch this year. Different guys running the rock for the most part, but it's going to be very interesting to see how West holds onto the ball. We'll talk about that in a second, but it's something that can't be overlooked regardless of the records when this rivalry happens. That whoever rushes them for the most yards, as well as who has the least amount of turnovers, usually wins this game. Yeah, absolutely. And then the tale of the two Bills. We mentioned Bill Wilson. Bill Young, who I actually played for my freshman year at Bearden. Was at Bearden High School for a time. He's got his field named after him. Yes, Bill Wilson's here, but Bill Young did coach one season at West in 1976, only to be replaced by Bill Wilson, who coached from 1977 all the way until 1998. So yes, so a little tidbit there that the two Bills are definitely always mentioned in some esteem. Of course, we lost Bill Wilson way too early, and shout out to Bill Young wherever he's at right now. Hopefully enjoying retirement and grandchildren, and who knows, maybe even great grandchildren now. So the other thing too is that some games have been forfeited. In 1999, the infamous Bill Butler game, he played 2 plays on special teams. In the outcome of the game, Bearden won 16-14. It was Tony Rogers' debut as a coach for West. 3 weeks later, Bearden reported that he played 2 plays, had to forfeit the game, so the victory went to West. and it's in the
Oh,
scoreboard
wow.
as West 1, Bearden nothing.
Yeah,
that
because
is
of
what it is
forfeit, a
because of the
forfeit.
forfeit. So realistically, that is when West won that game by forfeit. But to win it on the field, West would not claim that until 2001. It's been 10 years. So, and then the other one was, unfortunately, nobody wants to bring it up, but we did suffer through a pandemic, and in 2020 we tried our best to play football. I don't even know how we even got 12 games. There was limited seating, but a couple of Bearden guys before the game had contracted COVID. They obviously forfeited that game. So West has won 2 of these games by forfeit because of an ineligible player and unfortunately a pandemic that couldn't be helped that affected everybody. Yep. So there's that. But that being said, let's talk about this game, West and Bearden. When West has the ball on offense, West is breaking in a new quarterback for the 4th straight year, actually 3rd straight year, because Carson Jesse did play as a junior. But this will be the 3rd straight year West is starting a brand new quarterback against an opponent like Bearden. Unlike Parker last year, who had to do that on the road, Jack Harrison has the friendly confines of Bill Wilson Field here. So what is your thoughts of what Jack has to do against a Bearden defense that you know is going to be ready to play with Brad Taylor's influence?
Don't do the simple things. Take care of the ball, orchestrate the offense, run the rock, run it, play action when he can, execute this offense the way he would normally execute it, just like in practice. It's his first game as a starting. It's his first time as a starting quarterback in the stadium. It's going to be loud. It's going to be hectic. Crowd's going to be going wild. Just has to keep his composure and execute the offense. As long as he does that, he's going to be fine.
Absolutely. Interesting enough that West does have a new offensive coordinator this year with the staff changes. Rodney Ellison's going to be calling the plays and so forth, who's done a pretty decent job at all his other places. It's going to be very interesting with it now, not scrimmages anymore, how the offense is called and so forth, and what are they going to lean on, because West has a stable of running backs, which has basically been the norm for West for the last 20-something years. But you have 3 guys that you can depend on, with Messiah Wren, who's returning as a senior, Raheem Lee, who, if everybody doesn't know his name, will know his name and of course Jamari Goins, who showed at times as the 3rd back last year behind Tavion Ray and Messiah Wren what he can do. The point is that you've got a great stable of running backs that are going to be running the ball. You also have a couple of receivers that were kind of lost in the mix with so many receivers ahead of them last year. Now this year, Silas Monroe, Yarik Cook, Zarian Umis, they're going to get their shot to put their stamp on the rivalry. And you've got a big target again at tight end in Morgan Farrell, big country.
And I'll tell you what, tight ends are sometimes a new quarterback can be a new quarterback's best friend. And I believe he'll get used quite a bit tonight. But I like I said, just keep the composure, run the offense, rely on your playmakers. Don't take it upon yourself to try to do everything yourself, because that's how trouble starts happening. You press, turnovers start happening. No, you can't. This is a rivalry game. You can't make mistakes, because with both of these teams, Bearden can take mistakes and make you pay for it. Same thing goes for Bearden. They can't make mistakes because West will make you pay for it. Taking care of the ball is huge tonight.
And realistically, the last couple of years, that has been the story, that West has just not protected the ball early on. That's going to be something to kind of keep an eye on. If they can protect the ball and they execute, that should be the game of the story. But
and especially the way the weather is up, weather could be a factor tonight. Taking care of the ball is a definite must.
Absolutely. And luckily, with the artificial turf, at least you're not going to be playing on sloppy grass or anything like that. The field should hold up with that. The other thing, too, to talk about is that West did lose 4 offensive linemen from last year's talented group. This year, they do bring some guys that have gotten playing time, though, like an Ernst, like a Mabaney, Gus Gladden. So you're going to see a new offensive line for West, but they have impressed in the offseason and when they've done in the scrimmages. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against Bearden's front 4.
That will be a very interesting match. But I'm always keen to see the trenches battle, because I believe you win in the trenches, you're going to win the game.
Absolutely.
You have running the ball is an attitude. Defending the ball is an attitude. It's like you each get a shade of grass. Is that I have to move you, you have to move me. and time to go get it.
Absolutely. Also, something to think about too is when Wes is on defense. Obviously, Bearden and the Jamboree showed two quarterbacks. Obviously, they have Aaron Thacker that has been on their team for the last couple years. He's a junior. He's number 8. He really showed a pretty good arm in the Jamboree last last week, threw a touchdown against South Doyle. On the flip side, there is the Carpenter kid who's number 6, who's more of your running big-time quarterback. I believe he's a transfer from another school. Bearden might be rotating both quarterbacks, obviously, depending on the situation. Kerry, how does Wes's defense, led by JP Peace, prepare for that?
Stay disciplined. Don't lose sight of who's. Stay disciplined. Don't lose sight of who's got the ball. Stay in your lanes, because with two different quarterbacks, it might not be two different plans. It might be the same plan, just executed by two different people. Stay in your lane, stay disciplined, focus on who's got the ball, and make the tackle. Wrap up very, very nicely. Wrap up.
Yeah, and the angles, that's such a big thing, because sometimes when you put yourself completely out of a play and you're not even there even by taking the right angle, you might deviate the play to get to the guy that makes the tackle and so forth.
Lane discipline, angle discipline.
Absolutely.
Gotta make sure you're in the right spot.
I'd even argue too that one thing that and we haven't talked about the elephant in the room yet, and we will address that here shortly, is the fact that now it is Baron Chandler's team. He is now the head coach. But the one thing that has been a staple in this West program since 2017 and has not changed is his defense. And his defense has always been come to play to prepare. They are always in position to do well. And more importantly, they play disciplined football. And when they can create turnovers on top of keeping everything in front of them, that's when they're really dangerous.
That's one thing that won't leave. His attention to detail. He moves from the defensive side, coordinator, head coach, but his detail for discipline will always be there. His detailed game plans: attack, tackle, force the turnovers, and Robert Nealon, when you make a break, go score with it. Secure.
Yeah, and it also helps that all those coaches are back on that defensive side of the ball.
That's a huge help.
Morgan Shaver, we kind of have made the joke that we don't rebuild our defensive lines at West. We reload, and Morgan has been a staple of doing that every year. Always has the guys ready, and then there's depth back there too. I'm really looking forward to seeing number 52. I'll tell you one thing. He is a freshman last year. Jeremiah Caswell. He is about to make a name for himself as a super soft this year. You also have Nalaja Dickey on the other side at the defensive end spot. They can rotate 3 guys at the defensive tackle spot. It all starts with, I like to call him, his name is Dale Campbell, but I like to say, give him hail, Dale. So I'm telling you, and he leaves it all out there. And also Nick Ernst, who will play both sides of the ball. He'll get out there. And also keep an eye on Amari Cruz, by the way. He's the big time transfer from Oklahoma. His family moved over here. You'll get to see him, and I'm excited to see big Amari get in there and show what he can do.
I'm excited to see some of the new guys too. I'm also definitely excited to see JP do what he
Let's
does.
Talk about that. We've got a 3-star commit ourselves to go into UT.
JP's an amazing player and an amazing kid. I'm dying to see him tonight. Just let it all go now. And I think the fact that the commitment part is done with, he can relax and play football.
Florida State, you can't have him. You hear me? Two pair Tate's not here. Shout out to him in Nashville. Shout out to the coach Shane O'Mac. They both had other obligations going on. But truth be told,
JP's ours.
JP's ours, not yours, Florida State. And they even sent him a tweet. Good luck this season. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah. Hey, that's nice. At least that's nice of them.
It was nice of them to say that.
They know they have a shot.
This is what I say to Florida State. But anyway, but that being said, though, but JP Peace makes the move from outside linebacker to inside linebacker. He unfortunately missed the Catholic scrimmage, but he really had other good scrimmages at the new position, and that takes an adjustment. But
yes, it does.
But the fact is that he's going to be manning the spot that Ryan Scott was so valuable with during those 2 state championship teams. What does JP have to do to enact what Ryan brought to that table as like a quarterback of the defense?
Just make sure everybody's in the right spot. Make sure everybody's their assignment, what they're supposed to do, and he help take care of what is needed. JP's an excellent player. Ryan was a terrific player with us too, and I don't see any drop off whatsoever.
No. And it also helps that your mom is evolved for life, your father was evolved for life, and your grandfather is Philip Falmer. So absolutely. So yeah. Absolutely.
So he's got that embedded and maintained in him, and JP's going to be a terrific player. I think we're going to see the best of him.
Yeah.
And he's always been scratching the surface, but now I think the best of him is going to show. The leadership's going to show. If he learned anything from Ryan, and I believe he did, because Ryan is a tremendous young man, a tremendous football player. But I love what JP is going to bring to that defense.
Absolutely. And the other thing that you got to talk about is one thing that was lost in the shuffle of the Sevier County game last year is that Wes's defense wasn't at full strength. Unfortunately, Sam Lavelle had a broken collarbone, could not play in that Sevier County game. Would have liked to have had that experience there at the linebacker spot on that defense, especially when that big play by Sevier County happened that helped them take the lead. But Lavelle's back. He's at that spot. You got Davis Neely back, number 45, who's been almost a 3-year starter pretty much at the position. And then James Sutton steps in for JP's old spot on the right side. So that's your linebacking core. It's a solid linebacking core from top to bottom.
And they're going to be coached well.
Yeah,
they will be very coached.
Yeah,
well.
And of course, coached by Baron Chandler, who used to be the that was the position coach of the linebackers, as well as strength and conditioning coach Jamie Holbrook. So they're going to be
and his fingerprints. Even though he's the head coach now, his fingerprints will still be, and his coaching and his fingerprints will still be on that defense tonight.
Absolutely,
and it'll be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. The other thing to talk about too, and we mentioned how good Thacker looked passing the ball for Bearden last week against South Doyle. You've got 4 new DBs starting their first game this year. I mean, you lost Jackson Hayes, you lost Riley Manning, you lost Porkchop, you lost Antoine Burdine. I mean, Porkchop's now at Maryville College, and Antoine's down at college at Charleston. So you that's a lot to replace right there. But the fact is that you've got some really steady players. I like a kid like Abel Ancelot, who has always been in that mix of playing, and you'll see him on both sides of the ball, playing offense and defense. But at the safety position, another guy to kind of keep an eye out is on Ethan Fortner. He'll also be at a safety spot. And then also Silas Monroe and Yarik Cook kind of playing that DB spot as well as the wide receiver spot. What do those DBs have to do in their first live game, against a team like Bearden that is going to pass the ball?
Play every play individually. If a mistake happens, learn from it, get it out of your system, execute the next time. Rely on your coaching, rely on your training, execute. And like I said, if you make a mistake, get it out of your mind, get ready for the next play.
Absolutely.
Because mistakes are going to be made. No one's going to play a perfect football game. That doesn't ever happen. But I love these 4 young corners you're talking about, these young defensive backfield. This is a great chance to get better and better. They're going to be, by the end of the year, they will be so much better from playing against teams like Bearden, playing against teams like Maryville and Alcoa. They will learn so much and be better for it.
It's a great point that you bring that up, Kerry, because that, I think, has been lost. That, even in last year's team that may have fallen short of what their goal was, which was obviously to win state. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is that that's what you have noticed with the West theme the last few years. They've gotten better each year. Now, the 22 team was a juggernaut. We're not going to even say that. But even the 21 team, losing Shannon Blair early, they found a way to get the recipe to even get as far to the state semifinals. You want to be playing your best football in November and December, and you don't want to peak in August. That's where teams go wrong doing that. So that's one thing that you're absolutely right, spot on with this West team. And I think that, to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be biased as a fan and a former alum, I feel that they're more ahead at this point than they were maybe the last couple of years. There's a maturity here because I think of all the things that happened from that loss against Sevier County, of how hurtful it was last year, to the commitment that they made in the offseason in the workout room. Jamie Holbrook told me flat out, he has never seen the guys they were wanting to get in the weight room the next week, and Lamar and the coaching staff had to tell them, no, rest your bodies, guys, enjoy the holidays, we'll get in there right after January. And there's been a commitment there since January, regardless of who the coaches are at this point. The players have stayed the course, and realistically, I think that they're ready to get some frustration out tonight. I really do.
I think the way you lose a game like that, especially as close as they were. I mean, think about it. If that play doesn't happen, there's a chance they could be playing for the third state straight
against Page, against the team that they beat the last 2 years. Yeah,
that's something some people never get over. And the best way to do that is use it for motivation.
Mm-hmm.
They've used it to motivation, and most of the time you see something like that happen, the next year teams come out ready to go. The off season, yes, it's been a interesting and tumultuous off season, but those players are ready for it.
I almost find it almost not that you can compare those two teams, but it's almost very mired to how West's 2014 first state championship used that 1 point loss as motivation, seeing that 28-27 in the old locker room every day to get to that state title game. You know, maybe you think about that score, losing in double overtime, and you see Sevier County make a documentary that's being released that you're a part of, because realistically they had to beat you to get to where you're at. And you know, are these teams on a collision course again? There's a lot of football to be played, but at the same time, you just got to take it week by week to even want to get to that opportunity for that chance.
Each year is a different animal.
Yeah.
And last year was a state title. This year is a whole new season. Everybody starts off 0-0 with the same goal: try to get to that state championship game.
Shout out to Michael Lynn, former linebacker at West, class of 2001. Finally, it's here. Yes, sir, it is. How you doing, Coach?
What's up,
Good
Coach?
morning,
Good
fellas.
morning,
Good morning, brother. Good morning. The other thing that we need to talk about too, there's been some changes in the special teams department. Last year, Pete Rogers was a phenomenal kicker for West, made that big kick that even got you into overtime against Sevier County, made a big kick that pretty much sealed the deal in the big win over Anderson County last year. Pete's not here anymore, but Addison Klein, who a lot of people are talking about as a kicker that's going to be recruited at a high level, junior, he's got a big-time leg. You got him at kicker, kicking off as well as making the extra points and the field goals. So look for that to kind of be interesting tonight with the conditions if they're as bad.
Yeah, I think special teams plays a big part tonight. Punt returns, handling the ball, especially on punt returns and in what could be inclement weather, huge. Secure the ball. Don't think about it. And whatever field position, take the field position. I've always said the thing, plant yourself at the 10-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
If the ball goes over your head, you don't go after it.
It's true.
Bad things happen when you go after it. You can either start it inside your 10 yards. And I think that's the one other battle. Field position tonight is going to be huge.
It is.
The longer someone has to drive for a score, the more it's going to take out of it.
Yep.
You want turnovers, you want short fields. Those two things usually go together. If you can force the other team into turnovers and you get short fields, you got to score.
Funny that you bring that up too, because it's a perfect segue. West at times didn't really even have to punt the ball with how exciting the offense has been over the last 3 seasons, obviously. But we lost a 3-year starter at punter in Jones Bolig, who's gone on and so forth. But who do we replace him with? A Colquitt. Yeah, Colston Colquitt is going to be the punter this year. Dustin's who you know. I mean, shoot.
And I'll tell you what, that name, Colquitt name in Knoxville is legendary. And if I know this kid, like I've known his father and his uncle and his grandfather, West will be in good hands for the special teams with him punting the football.
Absolutely. So the fact that some teams might be panicking that they lost their starting kicker and punter from the year before, we just reloaded that position too. So one position, though, that's going to be interesting to keep an eye out, and again, West has been spoiled in this regard, in my opinion, Kerry, is the fact that return guys. I mean, you've had the luxury of having a Jaquarius Wren who could take it to the house. You had Marshawn Bowers and Six Horde the following year. And then last year, who was it? Just the guy that has the most return yards in school history, and Antoine Bearden. Now Silas Monroe is going to get that opportunity. But also keep an eye on Will Sharble, number 13. He's also been in the mix to get a chance to return it a little bit. You can hear the band in the background, guys. Isn't that exciting right now? I'm telling you, damn it, I love it. So, but truth be told, Silas Monroe, that's going to be something to keep an eye on, because you mentioned the field position. When you take that chance to maybe make a big play, or maybe do you be patient because you have so much faith in your offense, you just fair catch it in these conditions and just drive the length of the field.
You could do it either way. I think conditions will determine what's going to happen. I think if you don't get the inclement weather, then I think special teams plays a huge part, because you could return yards in that game. It can set up so many things. Or a block, even a block on special teams, so preventing something to happen is a big thing.
Absolutely. And, I'll tell you another thing, too, that you got to also think about. Very good point there, because West's special teams have done that block that is set up for them in the past. So that's going to be something interesting to watch, number one. Number two, the other thing to think about is going to be those intangibles with the bad weather, with a wet ball. And, can you jump on those opportunities and create a short field for those easy opportunities?
Chunk plays. I've always believed chunk plays. Whoever has the most chunk plays tonight has a great shot to win this game.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do.
That's a great shot to win.
The other thing, too, that we wanted to discuss, obviously, is the fact that this year, obviously, Bearden Chandler is now the head coach at West. Lamar now is the defensive line coach over at Maryville. But truth be told, the staff has kept this thing together with an opportunity here. And what's so interesting is that Brad Taylor is 3-4 against West as head coach of Bearden. He'd like to go 500, obviously, and steal one tonight. But Bearden Chandler actually might become the first West coach officially to win his first game against Bearden. We don't have that.
When I heard that, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Bill Wilson lost his opening debut against Bearden. Scott Cummings did beat Bearden his first year, but that wasn't the first game. He beat Alcoa. That was right. The first game that year. Lamar's first game was here in 2017, and they lost 17-3. So realistically, Bearden could buck the trend as the first West head coach to win. Tony Rogers lost on the field 16-14, but because of the Bill Butler forfeit 3 weeks later. But Bearden could legitimately win his first game against Bearden High School tonight. Talk about how special that would be for him.
That would be very special for him, and I'm sure that I've always seen there's a difference between being a coordinator and being a head coach. So I'm sure that he is a little bit, got some butterflies in him tonight. This is his first big opportunity. TV game, your first game as a head coach, and it's a rivalry game.
I think
can't get any better than that.
I think that also helps him too.
And it helps to be at home.
Oh, absolutely.
I think being at home, huge advantage.
Well, and I'll tell you this, even though there was some staff turnover from last year, the majority of the guys are there. And the one thing that I always talked about was that this coaching staff was always close, and the fact is that the majority of them are back. They have held it together, and that can't be. I mean, you look at Coach Harb, you look at Coach Ellerby. I mean, Rodney Ellerby has been a part of this. And he is the one guy that can say he has 3 state championships along with Morgan Shaver. So that's the thing. So when you have consistency like that for 10 plus years, that can't be overlooked. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to think about for tonight's game. So, the other thing, too, let's take a look at what the chat box has to say about it. What do you guys think about this game, honestly? So, Michael Lynn says, get the cigar ready. It's happening. By the way, I do have one actually back at the car. But I don't even know if I have one with me at the moment. So no, I don't have one with me. It's in the car because I am on school property here. But I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to be being disrespectful. Obviously, no tobacco on this campus. But yeah, I think that a lot of people feel that this game should be West's. I don't think many people are giving Bearden a chance because of what they faced, and most of their team now being at Anderson County or Maryville or some of these other schools. But Kerry, that's a dangerous dog right there. When your back's against the wall and you've got nothing left to lose against a team that has something that has been a traditional power, don't underestimate your rival.
I never underestimate your rival, because rivalry games like this throw the records out the window. History can come into play, but when these guys get there, both of these teams probably have known, some of these kids have known each other forever and have competed against each other forever. So you can never take the competitive phase out of it. This is going to be a great battle tonight. It's going to be unbelievable. The environment is going to be unbelievable because it's going to be packed over there, and it's going to be packed over there, and both bands are going to be here. Packer and television here. This place is going to be rocking.
Well, and actually, Packer's not going to be here tonight. It's actually going to be Diamond Clear Media. Thank you for bringing that up.
Really?
So tonight, Diamond Clear Media, if you can't make it to the stadium, diamondclearmedia.com. I don't know who's doing the play-by-play this year. I believe Jack FM is going to also still be doing the radio, 94.3. Again, I don't know who the announcers are going to be. Last year it was Paige, but I don't know if she's coming back this year or not. But radio and TV will be available if you can't make it out. $10 to get in. They're actually taking credit cards now, just to let you know. You don't have to do it online and do a fee. It's $10 with a card if you don't have cash. But either way, come out here and support it. We need the gate more than anything. More than anything, we can finish up with this because we are getting close to that hour. What I did want to ask you is our predictions, Carrie, at this point. You've got West, you've got Bearden. There's been a lot of talk. Both programs have had a ton of turmoil in the offseason. They've had to overcome it. Bearden's frustrated. They've got a lot of frustration to get out. West has a lot of frustration to get out. Who wins? What's the score and why?
I think in a game where unpredictable elements are weather, and then that could lead to turnovers, that could lead to a lot of. I still believe chunk plays will win this game. I look at West winning this game. My final score is 20-17. I think it's a close game. Like I said, throughout the records, this is a rivalry. Anything can happen, but I believe in the end, West will win 20-17 because I think being here and a lot of the players remembering what happened last year, knowing you cannot get off to a slow start. You got to execute and hang on to the ball. If they do that, they will win this game.
More than anything, I hope that the weather cooperates. I hope the fans show up. I hope this game gets played. I really hope. I hope we don't have a repeat of what happened with Powell and Anderson County. This game needs to be played. There doesn't need to be a forfeit. There doesn't need to be any of that. It needs to happen on the field. Both these teams, both these programs, these fans need to have this happen because everybody's put in the work. From the parents for both teams, the Bearden parents that have had to weather their storm, the West parents and everything of that nature. This game needs to happen tonight. If it does happen tonight or if it does get delayed till tomorrow because of better weather, either way it goes, I have got West winning tonight, 31-10. I think that West is going to really flex some muscle tonight. I was wrong last year with that prediction, but this year there's just something in this team's eyes. There's a demeanor. There's something different about this team. And as I've always mentioned, yes, I am the Italian Stallion, and Rocky is a movie. But at the same time, the truth of the matter is that I have been arguing sometimes you trade, for that glory. But here's the thing. When you work and put the hard work in, it pays off. The commitment that has been done in this offseason, I think, will be shown tonight. I think you'll see it week by week if we can navigate and stay injury-free. It's a violent game. Things happen all the time. But I pray that every player for every team, is okay. And it's a game. Things happen, and especially tonight. But more than anything, I think that West gets it done tonight, gets the rivalry back, makes it that now the series will be 40-22-1, and realistically, West needs this to win, and they will have an unbelievable challenge at the Black Hole with a pissed-off Maryville team next week.
I think that for either team tonight, confidence level is going to be high. Whoever wins tonight, I think is going to be an interesting spin. You get the two different springboards. West could springboard their season and really start looking at things going, okay. Now we know what we got. Bearden, if they would have pulled the upset tonight, what it could do for the rest of their season, it puts them ahead of where they should be. And sometimes, and a lot of times, that's a big help. This is a program win tonight. Whoever gets it, this is a program building win. Absolutely. Not just for Coach Taylor coming back to Bearden, but for Baron Chandler inheriting West.
Absolutely.
It's a program builder tonight.
Couldn't have said it better.
Program builder.
Couldn't have said it better ourselves, Carrie. Well, as you know, we end every show by throwing up that W, baby. I want to thank everybody for joining. It's all about that W. It's Rebels with a cause. That cause don't stop when the clock hits 0. 7 o'clock tonight, Bill Wilson Field. The band is getting ready. We need your voice. We need your support. The boys need you. Guys, we believe in you. Get it done this year. Have a marvelous, fabulous season. Love you guys. Go Rebels. Rebels with a cause. Thank you for tuning in. live from Bill Wilson Field, it's the Italian Stallion and Big Game, Kerry Reeves, signing off.